Handicapper Steve here, handicapping the racing from Saratoga Racecourse here on Wednesday. It is the 2nd of August, 2023. Gonna look at all the races here on this Wednesday program from the spa. But before I get on to that, remember to please follow me on Twitter at Horse Racing Kid 5 for more selections for race courses around the world, and I mean around the world. Some good racing this week from Goodwood, so check out those previews for the glorious Goodwood meeting. Also in Europe on this weekend, some great races from Deauville because it's their big summer festival there throughout the month. And here stateside, we have the Hambo this Saturday from the Meadowlands, so I'll be looking at that, and of course the Whitney. So it's a good week of racing, and August is always good with racing. Next week we have the Arlington Million. I believe next Friday, if you like harness racing, Dan Patches next Friday. It's always a good race also. And then you have, of course, the Alabama, the Travers, and the Pacific Classic. I think it's actually in September this year. But this month is the racing really heats up this month, so hang on tight. We have 10 races on the program today. It's a decent card. I think you can make some money with some of these races. So let's get to it right now. The first race is over the jumps, and it's also a stakes race. It is the Jonathan Kaiser Novice. It's going for a $75,000 purse. Races for 4-year-olds and upwards, never won over the hurdles prior to the 1st of March of 2022, or which never won the race of the main claim, blah 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 blah. We have a field of 8 horses going the distance of ground of 3,300 meters, or the 2 miles and 1/16th trip on the turf course, the inner turf course, the hurdles course. My top selection here, I'm going to go with the number 3 horse, Caramelized, as a top selection. I'm going to go 3-1-5-2 in the superfecta. 3-1-5-2 super, top selection, 3 horse, Caramelized, and favorite side dish in the world. You take, the big giant Spanish onions, like 4 or 5 of them, and you cook them down for like an hour, slowly. That with a piece of chicken is like one of the best, side dishes you could ever have. Who would have thought onions as a side dish? But this Pyro Gillen by Dansleyer, Leslie Young trains, gets Dooney up in the saddle. Horse hasn't been seen since the Queen's Cup down in the south, 2 miles to 3/8 on the 29th of April, and he finished third by 24 1/4 lengths that day. And he jumped okay. He was with him early on. Freddie Flincher is a decent horse over the jumps, really took off clear. This horse, he might need the race there. Stepping down in class to this race today, should be more forwardly paced. I think he's in a good spot to win, and I expect him to really run well. Two back at Camden on the 1st of April, his North America debut, 2 miles and 1/8 in the Carolina Cup. He won by a length that day and basically stalked. He quickened up nicely. He jumped well. It was an all-around easy race that day. And then before that, on Class 3 handicap hurdle at Huntington, 2 miles on the 8th of November, he finished 4th by 23 lengths that day. He was under the drive and just not excelling that day. Prior to that, on Class 3 handicap hurdle, Plumpton over the 2 miles. He won by 1 3/4 lengths, and he was a high weight in that handicap of 168 pounds. But he basically put on a show on the front end, taking off clear. Coming here today, he could definitely win. I'm going to use him on the ticket along with the 1 horse here, Awakened. Since coming to the jumps last season, he's really, been getting better and better. He was a winner in May quite nicely in a handicap and a novice hurdle. Last year, his only subpar race was basically at Far Hills, where he just completely hit the wall. He was never comfortable that day. I thought he just had a quick turnaround. If he could run a race like he did at Colonial last season, he could definitely win here. 7-2, I'll give him a shot. I think he's on the up and up. But to recap my selection for the opener from Saratoga, so Jonathan Kaiser Novice, gonna take as a top selection 3 horse Caramelized. Give kudos to the 1 horse Awakened. 3-1-5-2 super, 3-1 your multi-race. The second event from Saratoga, it is a maiden special weight purse of $88,000, race for maidens, 3-year-olds and upwards, state breds here. Field of 7 horses going 1,200 meters or 6 furlongs on the main track. I'm going to take the 5 horse here, Fast Buck Freddy, as a top selection. 5-7-2-1 for me in the superfecta. 5-7-2-1 super, top selection of 5 horse, Fast Buck Freddy, this 3-year-old colted by Fast Anna. Jorge Abreu trains. Flavian Pratt gets to mount. The horse's most recent outing came 9th of June at Belmont. 6 furlongs in a state-bred main special weight, and he finished 5th by 5 3/4 lengths that day. And a small field, he was just wide throughout, and he just couldn't get the good turn of foot. The winner was just a go-away Victor Newport Bridge. Coming here, coming here to Saratoga, second off the bench. I think he could really get something going in his sophomore race. He's been training well at Belmont since the last race. 5 furlong workout, 101 and 3/5 of a second. Second best workout of 7, and a half-mile drill in 49 flat. The 12th best workout, 58. And then they took him out to Saratoga between races. Half-mile and 50 flat on the training track here at Saratoga. I think if he breaks well, he gets a better poster, be farther paced. I think he really run a good race. In the pick five that begins with this race, I think you want to go too deep. I think his second likeliest winner is 7-horse Flying in Style for Joel Rosario and Carlton Baker. Most recently in a state bred main special week on the 9th of June at Belmont going sixth. Same race my other horse came out of. He finished third by 2 1/4 lengths that day. And he was with him early on. He, just couldn't get the good turn of foot late. It was a little lackadaisical, but he showed potential that day. He's been training well here at Saratoga since the last race. I like that they have quite a few workouts since the last race. It looks like if you go off of those workouts, he's coming into this race a lot better than he was going to the debut. At 3-1, I'll give him a shot also in the sophomore effort. But to recount my selection for the second from Saratoga, it is a main special week. Gonna take the 5-horse Fast Buck Freddy. Give kudos to the 7-horse Flying in Style. 5-7-2-1 Super. 5-7 in your multi-race. The third event from Saratoga, it's a claiming event going for a $64,000 purse race for 4-year-olds and upwards here, going for a claim price $32,000. Field of 10 horses, including a 1A entered, but 8, 9, 1A are all MTOs. So 7 will head to the Mellon Turf Course, 1,100 meters a trip, or 5.5 furlongs on the Mellon Turf Course. Rails are out at 18 feet. I'm going to take the 2-horse Chess Master as a top selection. 2-4-1-6 for me in the superfecta. 2-4-1-6 super. Top selection of 2-horse Chess Master. This 7-year-old gelding by Overdriven. Mike Maker trains. Irad Tees Jr. gets the mount. The horse's most recent outing in 21st of July at Indiana, so it's been going to 4 different states now in the last 6 weeks or so. But Indiana, 5 furlongs on the turf, an Ops 40 claimer, and he won by a length that day, and basically from a tracking trip. When he got to the front end, he quickened up, and he destroyed the group of horses home. Came back with a 90 buyer. Wasn't the best of his career, but it was still a very exciting run. Coming here to a claiming 32, it is a step down in class. From going from novice to allowance to claiming, so he could be bought today. But it doesn't scare me a lot because these are as those horses in Indiana aren't the best horses in the world, or even at Gulfstream or Lone Star. Prior to that, in the Grand Prairie Turf Sprint, Lone Star 5 furlongs 24th of June, he finished 6 by 4 lengths that day, and he just kind of stalked that day and completely crumbled. They were flying that day to the half 43-3. What can you do? He just stalked a little bit too quick pace there. And then at Gulfstream, 27th of May, 5 furlongs and a handicap. He finished third by 1.5 lengths that day. He had a wide trip. He hit the gate going out of it. He was wide, and it just wasn't his day to win. He's actually a stakes winner this year. Actually won the Tampa Turf Dash at 5 furlongs on the 18th of February, winning by 4 3/4 lengths, coming home with a career best 100 buyer. He really took off clear. He's been around the block quite a few times, but he's a very fast horse. He could still keep up with some of them. I'll give him a shot here on the ticket. I think the 4-horse here, 7 cents for Tom Morley and Luis Saez, is your second likeliest winner. He ran on the 15th of June at Belmont in an optional 62 claimer, where he finished 9th by 10 lengths that day, and he was just wide and just never getting comfortable that day. His last 2 races have just been a little bit subpar. I think going down to the claiming efforts, claiming ranks should really suit him well. Last time he was in a claiming race was last summer here at Saratoga, 5.5 and claiming 32, where he won by length, and he had a horrible beginning, but he settled well after that, quickened up, and he went away with it with a 91 buyer. That was one of his best buyers in the last year and a half. Came back to run the Belmont Turf Sprint after that, where he just really ran quite horribly. And then he ran at Aqueduct in late September, where he ran a decent third in that Op 62. And then ran at Churchill in the Claim and Crown race, where he just never was really, a factor off the turf. But, back to the claiming efforts, training well at Belmont. Another very likely winner at 8-1. I would use him in the pick 4. But to recount my selection for the third from Saratoga now, I'm going to take the 2-horse Chess Master, give kudos to the 4-horse 7 cents, 2-4-1-6 super, 2-4 in your multi-race. The 8th event, not the 8th event, what am I saying? Not yet there yet, but the 4th event from Saratoga. It is an allowance optional claimer purse, $100,000, race for 3-year-olds and upwards, state breds here. We have a field of 7 horses taking a stroll around the Aqueduct main, God, I can't speak today. Pardon me. I haven't had enough coffee yet. It's only like 8:30 at night. But we feel 7 horses going around the Saratoga main track, the distance of ground of 1,800 meters, or mile and 1/8 on that main track. Going to take the 1-horse Shadow Dragon as a top selection. 1-3-6-7 in the superfecta. 1-3-6-7 super. Top selection 1-horse Shadow Dragon. 3-year-old colt by Army Mule. Belmont trains. Jose Ortiz gets the mount. The horse's most recent outing came 7th of July at Belmont. 1 mile and up to 45 claimer. And he finished second by 1 1/4 lengths. He only had 3 other rivals that day. And he just kind of stalked, and he couldn't catch the winner, who really took off clear. Back to, since coming to state breds, he's really become, a lot better horse. He was facing Open Company in some very tough stakes races where he ran okay in spots and then crap in other. But back to state breds, I think that's what he wants to do. Back around 2 turns again. I'm going to give him a shot here on the ticket. He ran terrifically on 3rd June. facing state breds going a mile 16th at Belmont and a lounge race 80,000. Winning by 3/4 length. He was a little bit wide, but when he took off clear late, it was a very exciting 87 buyer from that day. And then they ran him in the wood at Aqueduct, mile 8th on the 8th of April. He finished 7 by 10 lengths that day, and he passed tiring horses. It just wasn't his day to win. He was facing just too tough competition there. And the Fountain of Youth at Goldstream over the mile 16th. He finished 5th by 14 lengths. A very bumpy trip, and he just couldn't keep up. He ran terrifically, though, in the Holy Bull. It wasn't the world's toughest Holy Bull, but Rocky Can really took off clear from the wide poster. This horse from the inside, he was wide late, but he was gaining ground. If the race was mile length, he would have probably won, but I didn't think it was a half bad race. And then they ran in the Sleepy Hollow at Aqueduct last October. He finished 6 by 15.5 lengths that day, wide and just didn't show up, but broke his mane at Aqueduct last September quite nicely, going away by 3/4 length. Coming here, training well. I'll give him a shot on the ticket. I think the 3-horse Olympic Dreams for Patrick Quick is your second likeliest winner. You won't see the 28-1 odds like you saw last time out in the Empire or in the Commentator at Belmont over the mile 16th, where he finished second by a head. He stalked a pace that day behind Bankit. He just he just missed late, but he ran his heart out that day. Prior to the option 45 at Belmont over the mile, he finished third by 1/4 lengths again. The race was a little bit longer. He would have won, but he really ran his heart out that day. And then a lounge race going mile length at Aqueduct in April. He won by 1/4 lengths on the front end. He went 1:15 and 3 3/4. You're going to win off those fractions. 84 buyer. It was a very good race. He's been getting better as the season goes on. I'll give him a massive shot here at 2-1, but we were there last time out for the wedding. Do we want to be here for the divorce? That's 2-1, not the 27-1 where we saw him last time out and placed. But to recount my selection for the fourth on the spot, I'm going to take the 1-horse Shadow Dragon. Give kudos to the 3-horse Olympic Dreams. 1-3-6-7 Super. 1-3 in your multi-race. The fifth event, probably the most interesting race in the program. You'll probably, it's a very wide open race, and you'll probably see random results here, I think. But the fifth race, it's a main special weight purse, $88,000. Race for fillies, 2-year-olds here, state breds. Field of 8 horses field of 9 horses, including part of an entry, going 1,700 meters or mile 16th on the inner turf course. Top selection, I'm going to go with the 6-horse Belvoir as a top selection. 6-2-3-1A in the superfecta. 6-2-3-1A super. Top selection 6-horse Belvoir. 2-year filly by Flameaway. Christophe Clement trains. Joe Rosario gets on this first-time starter. Bought this horse at the OBS sale in April for $105,000. But he's been training at Belmont. Most recent workout last week, and half mile on the main track in 48 and 4. 7th best workout of 25, and a half mile in 49 flat. 12th best workout of 58. I think coming here to turf, he does have a turf workout locally on the 26th June. 3 furlongs in 39-3, the second best workout of 3. I think coming to turf, he doesn't have bad numbers. Christophe Clement first time turf, and with the 2-year-olds, I think he could really run a good race. I think with the Flameaway and the Eddington on the dam side, I think this horse has a lot of stamina. I think he could keep up here. I'm going to use him along with the other Clement horse, the 2-horse Once an Eagle. 2-year-old filly by Tonalist here by Kozan Dam. So I think this horse could definitely get some turf. But most recent workout, 4 furlongs 50 and 2 from the gate. The 58th best workout 68, and 3 furlongs and 39 and 1. 4th best workout 50 out of 4th best workout 5. Coming here, another horse I think that has some forwardly pace, bred for turf. 4-1, let's use this horse on the ticket in this very wide open race. Also a 3-horse Brockenardi for George Weaver. The George Weaver horses have been really running decently or terrifically this spring. The 2-year-olds. Another horse, it wouldn't surprise me, has a great, I like the pedigree with this one, Pals Miles with the Bernardini Dam. I'm going to give this horse a shot on the pick 5 or the pick 4 here. Doesn't end with this race, ends with the next race, but you want to go spread in this race because I think it's a little deep. But to recount my selection for the 5th one now from Saratoga, going to take the 6-horse Belvoir, 6-2-3-1A Super, 6-2-3 in your multi-race. Let's head to the 6th race, the beginning of the late pick 5. The 6th event from Saratoga, it's a claiming event going for a $50,000 purse. Race for fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and upwards, never won through races or for 3 or blah 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 blah, which never won through races. The main claiming starter, blah 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 blah. There we go. We have a field of 10 horses. The 10 horses MTO. 9 will head to the Mellon Turf Course. The distance of ground is 1,700 meters or mile 16th here on the Mellon Turf Course. Speaking is so hard for me today, it seems. Up until about now, that's why I have to do these videos a little bit earlier. Now when I'm up since 4 a.m. But my top selection, I'm going to go with the 5-horse Home for Christmas. I'm going to go 5-7-3-2 in the superfecta. 5-7-3-2 super. Top selection, my best best bet of the day is 5-horse Home for Christmas. 5-year-old mare by Shanghai Bobby. Gregory DePramo trains this one. Trevor McCarthy gets him out. Horses most recent outing came 19th of July here at Saratoga. A mile on the inner turf course that was good rated. And a state bred option 45 claimer. He finished ninth by 13 lengths that day, and he was stepping up in class, and he just didn't show a lot that day. He was wide, and he just kind of hit the wall. It wasn't his day to win. Pretty sure I backed him that day, too. And, it just wasn't his day to win. To a claiming effort, probably in a realistic spot. I think he can really run a good race and win today. 2 back in the claiming 35, 9-3 out Belmont, a mile 16th, 18th in June. He ran terrifically. He finished third by 1 3/4 lengths that day, and he stepped back from a wide post or sitting back from a slow pace. He was really gaining late, just missed late, but she ran her heart out that day. Keep in mind, the winner was the next start winner. And then prior to that, in State Bred Option 45 at Belmont, 26th of May, 1 mile on the Widener. He finished 5th by 2 3/4 lengths. Keep in mind, 1 and 2 were both next start winners. He just kind of stalked, and he couldn't keep up with those slightly better horses on the day. And then late April at Aqueduct, mile 16th in Option 45, he finished 5th by 9 lengths that day. Second place and third place finishers were next start winners. He just kind of stalked and couldn't keep up there. And then he ran at Aqueduct, mile 3/8 in Lowndes race, 90,000 in late November. He finished 6th by 9 1/4 lengths. From wide posture, he set the pace. He slowly kind of hit the wall. It just wasn't his day to win. Keep in mind, that was the race actually Trevor McCarthy broke his collarbone and was out until March. So, that's if you want to know the coincidence between this horse and that race. And then prior to that at Aqueduct, 1 mile on State Bred Option 45, finished 7th by 6 lengths and just never really keeping up. His races here at Saratoga weren't half bad. His only race where he finished out of the money was last time out. His races last summer weren't bad at all. He placed in 2 mile State Bred Option 45s on the inner. Coming here to the mountain today, that can play towards speed, down in class to the lowest class he's ever facing in a little bit. I'm going to give him a massive shot here on the ticket 8-1. A nice win place for me on the definitely today. But to recount my selection for the 6 from Saratoga, going to take the 5-horse Home for Christmas, 5-7-3-2 in the superfecta. The 7th event from Saratoga, it's quite an interesting event. It is a starter allowance race, purse $50,000, race for 4-year-olds and upwards, which never started for a claim price $20,000 or less in 2022 or 2023. We have a field of 11 horses, including a pardon entry, going the distance of ground of 2,000 meters or 1.25 miles on the Saratoga main track. Usually, the last few years, the 1.25 races here at Saratoga, there's been 2 of them. You have the Alabama and the Travers. That's it, basically. But the last few years, it seems like it's because there's a lot of off the turf races, and they're running them out again at 1.25 miles, those 1.5 mile, mile 3 races. But it seems like there's more of these long distance dirt races here at Saratoga, and in general here in New York this year, which I quite like. And hopefully they keep the momentum going as Saratoga continues, and maybe when they go to the fall at Aqueduct, because these 1.25 races, 1 3/16 races on dirt, are very exciting and good betting opportunities here, and I think you can make some money with this one. My top selection, I'm going to go with the 1A horse here, higher quality. I'm going to go 1A 379 in the superfecta. 1A 379 super, top selection 1A horse, higher quality. This 5-year-old gelding by Tisnow, 9 Paul Chatterpaul trains. Dylan Davis gets the mounts. The horse's most recent outing came in the Monmouth Cup at Monmouth, mile 8th and 22nd of July, and he finished 7th by 22 1/4 lengths that day. He was facing tough horses, and he just, couldn't keep up there. It wasn't his day to win. Something that slightly scares me, he was a void claim prior to that and claiming 16 at Belmont, mile 16, 24th of June. He finished 2nd by a head. He stalked. He had the lead. He got caught late, but, he ran his heart out. But that kind of scares me. But he is training well since the last race. I'll give him a shot, a little bit of break for that Monmouth Cup. He was facing tough competition, and then prior to that, claiming 10 race, he was claimed out of Belmont, mile 16th on the mud, 16th of June. He won by a nose. He stalked. He got the lead and gamed it out. A very good performance that day on the quick turnaround. And then prior to that, May at Belmont, 1 mile claiming 14. He finished. He won by 6.5 lengths, and from a tracking trip, he was a little bit wide, but he really took off clear. His races over the winter at Belmont, at Aqueduct, weren't up to par, especially that 28th of January race. But that was against some tough horses. But he won going 2 turns here last year in a claiming 40, winning by a length coming from nowhere. I thought it was a good race. He should definitely get the trip here at 15-1. You get the other part of the entry also, which I don't think is, he could win, but I think this is the better part of the entry. He could be forwardly paced. I'm going to use him on the ticket. I think the 3-horse Portos could win also for Junior Alvarado. Ran disgusting in a claiming 20 here, though, on opening day over the mile and 8th, where he finished 3rd by 2 lengths that day. He was just wide, never really getting into it. Prior to that in the Brooklyn, going 1.5 miles, He finished fifth by 13 lengths. Again, wide, just not keeping up with those better horses there. And the Excelsior, he finished fourth, not keeping up. Since, when he steps down in class, he really runs these good races. He ran claiming 50,000 last year, where he finished second by 8 3/4 lengths locally, where he just missed, but he ran his heart out. Came back to run at Delta after that, where he ran disappointingly. And then he had a decent third at the Fairgrounds in February and in March. Coming here today with some class relief, going a monocore, which I think he should absolutely adore. At 10-1, he's a definite use in the pick 4 for me. But to recount my selection for the 7 from Saratoga, I'm going to take the 1A horse, higher quality. Give kudos to the 3 horse Portos, 1A379, 1A3 in your multi-race. The featured 8th race now from Saratoga, it's the De La Rose Stakes. It's going for a $135,000 purse. Race for fillies, mares, 4-year-olds, and upwards. We have a field here of 10 horses. 8 through 10 are MTOs, so 7 will head to the inner turf course, 1,600 meters to trip, or a mile on that inner turf course. Rails are out at 18 feet. Seems like the portable rails have been out at 18 feet for like the last 2 weeks already. But my top selection, I'm going to go with the number 5 horse here, Technical Analysis. I'm going to go 5-1. 6-4 in the superfecta, 5-1-6-4 super, top selection 5 horse, Technical Analysis. This 5-year-old mare by Kingman, Chad Brown trays, Jose Ortiz gets mounts. A logical single, I think, at the pick 4. Most recently, the perfect sting at Belmont, 1 mile on the 2nd of July. He finished second by a half a length that day, and he stalked. He had a little bit of tough trip down the backstretch. EV Jets just had the jump on this horse late to get the job done, but this horse, he ran his heart out that day. Coming here, probably going to be on the front end, could sit some good fractions back to Saratoga, where this horse absolutely likes running. I think this horse could run a good race and win. 2 back ran the Grade 1 First Lady at Keeneland, 1 mile on the 8th of October, and the horse lost to his stablemate, an Italian. She just finished 4th by 4.5 lengths that day. She just kind of stalked and got beat by better horses. And then last year's Grade 2 Boston Spa over the mile 16th, she won by a half length on the front end, pedestrian fractions, with a 101 career best buyer. That was a very good performance that day. And then again, she ran a second behind an Italian in the Diana last year over the mile and 8th, where she just couldn't catch an Italian, but she ran her heart out. Chad Brown had the 1-2-3 in last year's Diana, and Italian Technical Analysis. Both those horses, next star winner in Bleecker Street, very good horse, very underrated horse, I thought, from his stable last year. Finished third, so watch out for that. Until they rename the Diana for Chad Brown. And then prior to that, she won the Gallery at Pimlico quite nicely. She has hidden form. She likes this turf course. I think she'd get redemption on the other side of Evie Jets in this race. Like I said, I'm going to single her in the pick 4. But to recount my selection for the 8th from Saratoga, it's the De La Rose. Going to take the 5 horse, Technical Analysis, 5-1-6-4 super. Single the 5 in that late pick 4. The 9th event from Saratoga, it's allowance optional claimer purse, $162,500. Race for fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and upwards. We have a field of 8 horses entered. The 8 is an MTO, so 7 will head to the Mellon, the 1,100 meter journey, or 5.5 furlongs on that Mellon turf course. I'm going to take the 2 horse Scottish Star as the top selection. 2-6-7-1 for me in that superfecta. 2-6-7-1 super, top selection 2 horse Scottish Star. 6-year-old mare by Key Deputy. Todd Pletcher trains. Irad Tees Jr. gets the mount. Horse's most recent outing came the 1st July Woodbine on the E.P. Taylor, 1 mile in the Nassau, and he finished 6th by 13 3/4 lengths that day. They had a shower right before, or about an hour before the race, that really affected the turf course, and he was with them early on, but I just don't think he had a good handle of the turf course in the final 2. Refreshing here, not the world's toughest race, cutting back to 5.5 where he doesn't need the lead. He could probably get a good tracking trip. I think he's in a better spot to win. 2 back in the Miss Liberty at Monmouth, the mile 16th, 28th of May. He finished 2nd by 3/4 length that day, and he stalked. He set the pace that day. He kind of hit the wall late, but he didn't go down without a fight. I thought he had a game effort there. And then the Hillsborough at Tampa, on the 11th of March. He finished 2nd by 1/4 lengths that day. Chantasar really put on a show. This horse was dueling on the front end and just couldn't keep up there. She has run on in sprinting trips, but those races came on dirt, and they haven't been seen since 2021, and that was under the care of Dick Mandela. Most recently, the Chillingsworth of 2021 in Santini over the 6.5. Finished 3rd by 5.5 lengths that day and had a horrible beginning where he stumbled out of it. Was dueling with CC on the front end. CC won, was the next star winner. This horse, got beat by Breeders' Cup champion there. And then the Redondo Beach at Del Mar over the 6.5. She finished 4th by 3 lengths that day. Again, she was just very wide and she couldn't keep up. And then her North America debut in Op 62 going 6th. She finished 2nd by a neck. She stalked. She had the lead. She got caught. She ran her heart out. But I think coming back to turf here today, sprinting on turf for the first time, she should really find a good trip to win. At 3-1. I'm going to single her. I'm going to give you 2 singles in this pick 4. So I think, we'll go a little deeper in the model quarter race. We'll go a little deeper in the next race, but these 2 races in the middle are singles for me. But to recap my selection for the 9th from the Spa, I'm going to take the 2-horse Scottish Star, 2671 Super. We're going to single that 2 in the multi-race. Let's get to the nightcap, the 10th event from Saratoga, which is a claiming event going for a $35,000 purse. Race for Fillies Mayor, 3-year-olds, and upwards, never won 2 races here. We have a field of 9 horses going the distance of ground to 1,200 meters or 6 furlongs on the main track. I'm going to take the 7-horse here, Vax, as a top selection. 7436 for me in the superfecta. 7436 super, top selection 7-horse Vax. This 3-year-old filly by Sharp Azteca. Linda Rice trains. Jose Ortiz gets the mount. Most recently, claiming 40 at Belmont, 6 furlongs in 2nd of July. The horse finished 3rd by 8 3/4 lengths that day and was just wide and just couldn't keep up. I do think going down to the lowest, claiming 16 today, should suit this horse well. Has some pace if he wants to use it. Linda Rice has absolutely been killing Saratoga. I think this horse could really run a good race and improve with the class relief. Prior to that, on the slop, he's going 7 at Belmont, claiming 40. Off the bench, the horse finished 2nd by 2 1/4 lengths that day, and he was with them early on, hit the wall late, but he ran his heart out on that very sloppy track off the bench. And then late February or mid-February on the stop at Aqueduct, 6 furlongs in optional 50. The horse finished 7 by 18 lengths that day and just didn't show a lot that day. Prior to that, in late January, going 6.5 in a main special weight, the horse went by a neck and basically on the front, and he really took off clear. The race, if you go back to those Aqueduct races, when she sees a sloppy track, she doesn't really run very well, but when she sees the track, the fast goings, that's where she really shows up. She has some speed here. Speed's been killer on the track lately. At 7-5, she's a very likely winner. She's running races fast enough to win. The 4-horse Baby Sox from Manny Franco and Rudy Rog, I think could win also. Most recently, claiming 40 at the same race, my other horse is coming out of at Belmont, going 6. The horse finished 6 by 19 3/4 lengths. It was a very warm day at Belmont. I don't know if this horse handled the warm weather. He just couldn't keep up there. Prior to that, a maiden 20 at Belmont, going 6. He won by 5 3/4 lengths that day, and it took him 5 starts to break the maiden, but he really took off clear late. And then they took the horse to Pimlico prior to that, 6 furlongs in main 30, where he finished 2nd by 3/4 in length, and he just kind of hit the wall late after having the lead by a lot in the lane. Coming down in Class 2, claiming 16, he could win. Even the 3-horse Mo Town Madison for Safi Joseph with Luis Saez, coming here from Goldstream. He was a maiden 25,000 where the last time on the Tapete at Goldstream quite nicely. He hasn't run on dirt so many times. He has some good efforts, but then when he goes to the longer chip, he has some subpar efforts. But I think sprinting here back to dirt, he could definitely win at 8-1. Let's use him in this pick 4. Like I said, 2 singles in the middle. We'll go a little deep on the edges, but I think it's a very hittable pick 4 here. But to recap my selection for the 10th from Saratoga, I'm going to take the 7-horse Vax, give kudos to the 4-horse Baby Sox and the 3-horse Motown Madison, 7436 Super, 743 in your multi-race. So good luck to all, and please follow me on Twitter at HorseRacingKid5. Good luck, everybody.